Hi, I'm Desi Serna, author of Fretboard Theory, Guitar Theory for Dummies, and Guitar Rhythm and Technique for Dummies. In this free guitar lesson, I'm going to show you how to play some of the chord changes featured in the song Cult of Personality by Living Colour. Specifically, we're going to take a look at the chord changes in the bridge because they use different types of chord shapes that are drawn from the Cage template chord system that I teach in my theory courses. This lesson is suitable for intermediate levels players on up who are already familiar with standard bar chords and rhythm guitar technique. You can follow along with free guitar tab. Just go to the link in the video description. To get my sound for this song, I'm using a Paul Reed Smith DGT guitar. I'm using the back bridge humbucker. I'm plugged into this Fender Pro Junior amplifier. I got the volume set very low at 2 so that there's no breakup in the amp. It's a clean platform for my distortion pedal. I'm using a visual Sound Son of Hyde distortion pedal. I'm not using the speaker on the amp. I'm actually plugged into this Rivera Silent Sister isolation cabinet, which has a 12-inch Celestion Vintage 30 speaker in it. Then I'm just adding some reverb at my mixing board, and here's my sound. All right, so let's get started. Like I said, we're going to focus on the bridge because it has some really unique chord shapes and voicings. And by the way, if you'd like to learn the riff that opens up this song, I have another lesson where I teach that, so you could look that up. So make sure you have the free tab in front of you. I've got the tab here in front of me. I'll be referring to it as I teach. So before we actually get into the chord shapes as they're played, let me just play them in a more basic form using standard bar chords. This is what they look like. You could probably just follow along with the tab and look at the chord names above the staff. So you have B flat to F, and then in the next measure C to G, and the next measure D to A, and then in the next measure F to C. So these chord changes do not stem from any one key. It's kind of like just a pattern of fifth movement and some whole step movement. You know, when you go from B flat to F, you're moving a fifth. Then you move up a whole step and you go C to G, which is a fifth. Then you move up a whole step. Then you move up a step and a half. So I'm not sure where that particular chord pattern came from or what they were thinking when they composed it, but I just recognize it as some fifth movement and some moving up in mainly whole steps, but a step and a half there at the end. Before I actually show you how this part was played, let me kind of get you into the different line of thinking here and show you how you can play these same chords and some different positions using some different chord shapes. So let's take the first two, B flat and F. You know, that's a standard A form bar chord, standard E form bar chord. You could come up to another position and play the same chords like this. You could play B flat as an E form bar chord, and then you could play F right here as a C form bar chord. And then you could just focus your attention on strings 2, 3, and 4 and do it like this. B flat, F. Little inversion there. So B flat to F, and then you could move up a whole step and you can do C to G in the same manner. C, G. C from an E form, and then G from a C form. Then you could move up a whole step and do the same thing. D from an E form, and A from a C form. Then you can move up from that D a step and a half to play F in E form here, and then C in C form. So back to B flat here. Check out these changes. So you can tell we're kind of getting close to how the part was actually played. You're thinking out of the box. You're not just using standard bar chord shapes. We've got that C form in there as well. We had some inversions. Let me show you one more way that you could play those changes, just because this is just a great exercise in learning different chord shapes and voicings here. So you could come up here and play B flat. We're going to play through the changes again. B flat to F. You could play B flat in C form. Here it is. and then you could play F, and you could either think of this as A form or G form. We're just going to play strings 2, 3, and 4 like this. We're going to do the same thing on the B flat and C form. So we get B flat to F. Then you can move up a whole step and do that same exact fingering. That's actually C in C form, and then that's G. You can either think of it as being A form or G form. So that's C, G. Then you can move up a half step, and this is going to be D, A. Then you can move up a step and a half and do it again, and this is going to be F, C. So let me back up and do that again. So here's B flat in C form. Again, so we're thinking outside of the box. We're exploring our options. We're using some different chord shapes drawn from the cage system that I teach. And that's actually what's happening in this song. It actually moves around a little bit more than that. It doesn't follow as easy of a pattern where it just moves up like this. So, but that helps you kind of get in the right frame of mind to approach the part as it was actually played. So now let's take a look at the tab. So we'll start here in measure 1, and let me just play a little bit for you. It sounds like this. So that's B flat out of C form to F, and then after this you just follow it with, which is just part of the arpeggio. You know, if you think of this F as coming from the G form, think about the whole arpeggio pattern. So the chord shape here, the chord is just being arpeggiated. All right, so that took care of B flat and F. Next we have C and G. So B flat and F. Now we're in measure 2, and you're going to move up a whole step. Here's your C to G. So there's C and C form, there's G and G form if you want to think of it that way. And then you have a little extra added on here, kind of a sus4 on the G. So it's a little pull off there. We back up. Make sure you memorize each one of these chord changes and the little licks that follow, because you're going to move around a lot here, and you're going to need to have this memorized. All right, so now we're going to take a look at measure 3. So we played B flat, F, C, G. Now we're on D and A, and in measure 3 you're going to play the D and E form like this, and the A and C form like this. So remember that we already went through that option as an exercise here. So we broke away from the pattern of going C form first. Instead of coming up here for D to A, you come back down here for D to A. And specifically, you're going to arpeggiate this. You're going to play it like this. Got that? Every time you learn the next set of chord changes, go back to the beginning and rehearse it all. Then one more time. All right, so we played B flat, F, C, G, D, A. Next we play C to G, and I'm sorry, F to C. My goodness. And we see this in measure 4 right here. You're going to play the F and A form like this, and you're going to play the C and E form. So you're using the first option that I showed you, but you're only playing strings 2, 3, and 4. And if you look above the tab there, you see that little vibrato line. So, because I heard some vibrato at that point. Whoops. So you could add some vibrato there if you want. All right, from the beginning, B flat to F, C to G, D to A, F to C. Play through that over and over until you got it memorized and you're comfortable doing it. Then we'll move on. All right, so now we're picking up in measure 5. We're back to the top of the chord progression, B flat to F, and we're actually going to play the chords like this. That's a B flat power chord. So here's something we haven't discussed yet with your root B flat on the 4th string. Here's B flat on the 6th string. Here it is an octave higher. There's a 5th. There's an octave. B flat, and then here's F right here on the 5th string. And as I look at my tab, I actually wrote the F with the root on the 5th string in there, but when I play this, I leave that out and I go to the F like this. Because it sets me up for this next lick, which goes. So you play the 12th fret of the 2nd string and you do a half-step bend. Remember, you're on an F chord here, and this little lick is still kind of arpeggiating the notes of the chord. The bend leads into C here at the 12th fret. And then if you tap your finger while you keep that string bent, if you tap it here at the 21st fret, it's actually going to sound like an A up here. So you're creating this sound, which are notes right out of an F arpeggio. So. And if this is new to you, you just have to practice getting that tap right and holding that bend right so that it's in pitch. So in the tab, you're actually tapping the 21st fret, but the A is actually at the next fret. It's right here. But because you're bending the string up a half step, that means that this is sounding a half step higher, so it actually sounds like A. Whoops. Let me back up. So you got B flat to F, which I play like this, and then you have that bend and that tap. Let's take it back to the beginning. I was a little flat there. You got to be careful and make sure you get that bend just in the right spot so your tapped note is in tune as well. But at any rate, let's keep going. So we just finished up measure 5. Now we're getting into measure 6. We're at the C and the G chord, which is played again up here in this position. C and C form and G like this. And it's followed by this lick. So again, some suspension there. The first time you did a pull off. This time you just go. Whoops. Sometimes I forget I need to arpeggiate that C first. Let me back up a little bit. From the beginning. All right, next you're on the chord changes D to A. Take a look at measure 7, and you play them right here, D and E form, A and C form. And on that last note, you can add some vibrato if you'd like. I did hear it. And then finally, we need the chords F and C, and you're going to play them just like this, F like that. You're going to slide into it. And then C like this. And you can add some vibrato. I thought I even heard a bit of a dip on it too, so it's like... Let me back up from, this is measure 7. And then you can put it all together. Let's go through it one more time slowly. So you got B flat to F, C to G, D to A, F to C, B flat to F, C to G. Whoops, I did that wrong. D to A again. F to C. Well, that completes the parts that I wanted to cover in this lesson. Like I mentioned earlier, I do have another video which actually teaches the main riff to the song if you'd like to learn it. It's a good example of using major scale patterns and Mixolydian mode. But the bridge in this song is just a wonderful example of the kinds of things you can do with different types of chord shapes and inversions that are drawn from the Cage system. So you can start to think outside of the box and move away from just plain old standard bar chords, or at least plain old standard usage of those plain old standard bar chords. You know, here you broke them up and you just played some fragments and you arpeggiated them, and then there were some other embellishments in there with some different licks and some adding fourths and that sort of thing. So this is just a great example of how you can improve as a rhythm guitar player and improve your knowledge of the fretboard and how you use chord shapes. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this free guitar lesson. If you would like to learn more about music theory for guitar, including guitar scales, chords, progressions, modes, and more, then go to my website at guitar-music-theory.com. That's guitar music theory with dashes in between the words. When you get there, sign up to join my email list. You can receive some free materials and you can preview my the full theory courses that I offer. Well, thanks for watching. Please click like on this video and leave me some positive comments.